I know the leagues. I know the teams. I know these players. I know this wonderful game called football.
Welcome to the Moneyline presented by Pro Football Debate. Shout out to Bet Openly, the official sportsbook sponsor of the Moneyline. Be sure to check them out at betopenly.com. We told you guys last week that the lines looked razor sharp, and it looks like we were spot on for the most part. A few pushes, few games aside by a hook, tons of drama in general, but let's kind of see where our plays landed last week. First off, let's start off with the plays that we gave out. Drake's looks like, if I remember, we were on Atlanta minus the 1, Denver minus the 3.5. My condolences there. And KC minus the 3. How'd you land?
Yeah, 1-1-1. It looks like, depending on when you got the Atlanta line in a pick'em contest I was in, I got Atlanta plus 1.5, so that was a win in the contest. I ended up playing -1, so that was a push with the late field goal to win the game. Kansas City was a win. Their defense is ridiculous. Still need to figure some things out offensively, but they were solid. And then Denver, 21-3 lead. Ball at midfield. We'll touch more on it later, but Russ was given the ingredients to cook, and he turned the ball over. Washington went on and scored, and then next thing you know, Denver's down. End up losing the game 35-33. Last second Hail Mary. Didn't get the 2-point conversion to potentially give us the opportunity to cover in OT, but Russ being Russ, Denver being Denver, they're not nearly as good as I anticipated or thought they were going to be this year. Even with Sean Payton, they're still mediocre. Defense stinks. We can touch more on it later. How about you? How'd you shake out?
Yeah, so I gave out the 2. I gave out the Dolphins on Sunday night and ended up hitting that a little bit closer. I'd like to at the end. But I did bring up the trend on the 5-1, the last 6 against New England. So it looks like that game, just Dolphins have their number there. So that did go for me. Well, I guess stay undefeated, got the 0 in the middle column. But again, we talk about those lines being razor sharp. Thank God we ended up with the 3 on Monday night. Took a little bit of magic there, but able to get the Panthers plus the 3. At least they scored a touchdown. I chalked that up for the moral victory, I guess. But I don't know if you were staring at the wall, might have more entertaining than that game, but we'll take the push and move on. Yep. So 1-0-1 on the week. So not a terrible week. 2-1-2 combined. We'll take the positive units and keep trucking.
Yep, for sure. You want to run down each game?
Yeah, let's go game by game here. Let's see. A lot to talk about, a lot of drama. Let's start off. We had the Thursday night game we touched on. We don't really need to talk about that one so much. First game that we talked about, though, Chargers and Titans. Obviously, something big that we've talked about, the first week that sticks out. Talk me through it.
Yeah, so I think on our earlier episode, I said I was going to stay away. This was a game that the line was 3.5 all week. Vrabel as a dog, as we talked about last week's episode, just an absolute monster. I didn't touch it. Chargers defense still sinks. And, if I said, I think verbatim, if there's a defense for Tennessee to somehow get right, it's against the Chargers defense. And they did enough to win the game. So kudos to them. But yeah, it's a game that spread was tight and dog ended up winning.
Yeah, and that's a funny one because I think we're both got some money on the Chargers one way or another. So normally we would have probably looked at that, said Vrabel plus the 3. Maybe some bias there.
Buddy, I have a ticket on Brandon Staley Coach of the Year at 50-1. It got down to like 28 or 30-1 on DK. I think. I thought I had good value, and the guy's going to be fired by the time we reach October 1st.
Oh, I was going to say you can hedge first fired maybe, and hopefully it's going to be feast or famine there.
Unbelievable.
This one was actually really important because we saw this number everywhere throughout the week. You gave this one out as a play, the push, Falcons minus the 1. But it kind of just goes to show, what you're looking at when you're scooping up numbers. I saw 1.5 some places. So, good for you to kind of scope out, take the lower number at the 1 and, Atlanta kicking game, doing what it does and, squeaking out a win, which by the way, Green Bay actually looked pretty good. Love looked very good. Kind of excited to see what they do in the North.
For sure. Yeah, I think their odds move to close in on Detroit for the NFC North. Love, again, 3 touchdowns, no picks, so he's holding on to the football. It ended up being a decent game in the second half. It's kind of lackluster the first half, but, yeah, looking forward to what Green Bay shows the rest of the season, and they're gonna be a team I think I play on going forward for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Colts +1 versus the Texans in Houston. We talked about the Colts staying hot against Houston in Texas, so that one stayed true. Obviously, for the most part, it was a runaway. Rich Snow balled out, got hurt early. Still managed to get 2 TDs on the ground. Not really much you want to talk about there. It was kind of Minshew magic, I guess, just holding it down. But
For
any
sure.
notice there?
No, not necessarily. Houston offense still stinks. It might take a couple weeks for them to maybe get some gel going, or maybe they're just not, very good offensively. But they do play Jacksonville tight, who's their opponent this week. I'm leaning towards taking 9.5, but I guess follow us on Thursday to see where we shake out there.
All right, if I had the confetti graphic, I would lay it on this one all day long because Detroit is our kryptonite. We're finally able to hit one. Seahawks 4.5. We like this number at 5.5 more earlier in the week. We saw it get down to 4.5, but an outright win. Just let Detroit do what Detroit does, and I guess you'll reap the benefits there.
Yeah, if you go back to episode 1, we talked about Dan Campbell going for it, fake punt in his own end, and he chooses to be aggressive when he wants to be, and sometimes it's played out well for him. Other times, against Seattle, it didn't. It went for it in the wrong time, and then he
didn't go for it the last 2 minutes though. Looked like he was content to decide that with a coin flip, which is ultimately what happened.
Right. Yeah, he had 3 timeouts. You're moving the ball downfield. They were near midfield with like a minute and some change left, basically settling for a field goal. So didn't understand that there, but yeah, saw reverse line movement. So it was 5.5-ish, maybe 6 at some spots. Got down to 4.5. Public was all over Detroit. To me, that's indication to play on Seattle. And they ended up getting an outright win.
Yeah, and credit to you. It was Sunday morning. You shot me the text, said, for what it's worth, it seemed like there was some sharp money coming in on the Hawks, which seemed to be true. So good spot there. Good hit, man. Next game, we got Bears and Bucks. I have nothing to take away from that except for I was high on Justin Fields. I'm not anymore. Like, it might just be, open season, not fading the Bears. I don't know what's going on in Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago stinks. Tampa, they've played well. Like, we don't know how good Minnesota is. I know they kept it somewhat competitive against Philly on Thursday night. But I've been impressed so far with Tampa. And again, Minnesota and Chicago aren't the 2 best teams in the NFL. But curious when they play kind of a real or above average football team, what they come away with. But Baker's looked good. The offense has done what it needs to do. The defense has stood up. So, looking forward to seeing kind of how they progress and maybe contend for the NFC South.
Yep, we got Raiders and Bills. Bills were laying the 8.5 at home. I think you're just looking at classic, good team off a bad loss. They obviously just took care of business, and every time red zone popped down for me, at least it was, Buffalo's got the ball in the red zone. I didn't even know Vegas was playing a game that day.
Yeah, it was insane. Good for everyone surviving that. Not surviving it, but picking Buffalo for Survivor.
Yep, we got Chiefs -3, obviously covered in a really lackluster game. Neither team really moved the ball well, kind of stuck in midfield. Yep. But again, though, 7 points, I think it was 16-9. So getting the 3 there, kind of a no sweat cover. What kind of put you off on that one? I know that was a play you gave out. What did you like about it?
The Chiefs, Kelsey being back, I think I touched on it too. Against Detroit, what they lacked in the red zone when they settled for field goals, they were missing Kelsey. And not even just like him getting the ball in his hands, but just the way that he creates space for other guys. And the offense wasn't great on Sunday against Jacksonville, but did enough to get the win. And that defense is more than impressive. That defense could be one of the best in football. So all things being equal, they did what they needed to do. And ironically enough, that was the highest total for the Sunday games. And it was the only game that went under in the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock window. So weird game, but happy to be on the winning side for sure.
Ravens plus the 3.5. You gave out a stat. We kind of gave some contradictory trends given that one. I was on Bengals. You were on Ravens. I got nothing to say. It just weren't even in it. Clearly, you just had the better read. And I think you talked about Burrow potentially not being himself. Looks like you nailed that spot on.
Thanks. The 3.5 was the number that did it for me. Divisional dog. Baltimore is a really, really good team, well coached. And Cincinnati, didn't watch a ton against Cleveland, but saw enough highlights to know that Burrow isn't right, that offense isn't right. There's rumors that he's going to miss this week against the Rams, so that number has come down to almost a pick 'em. I think maybe it's around 1.5, 2 now. So he's not right, and I'm staying away from the Bengals entirely until I see him do it.
Sure, yeah. We got next game up. A lot of drama, not something that necessarily I don't think we really had an opinion on. You did say you were more apt to take the Cards, but they did cover. They lost the game, blew just an absolute huge lead.
Yep.
I mean, that game was just everywhere. Saquon gets hurt. Like, just I don't know where you even want to start that debacle, but I mean, good for you for being on the Cards at least, because I think they're going to be a fade spot for the public at least, just given the personnel they got over there, new coach, and just the kind of the low total season total as well.
For sure, yeah, they're the 2-0 ATS Cards. I was on them again. We saw reverse line movement. Line was 5.5, 6, maybe even open 6.5. I'd have to go back and look, but it got down to 4.5 around kick. I was on the Cards all week, and that was a no sweat that became sweaty at the end of the game.
We'll get more to that later. This game, though, I don't know if you want to just cut right now and talk for the next 10 hours. 49ers, Rams, the hook, the 10-point lead, 4 seconds left in the game.
Yep.
Going to trot out the kicker.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Still being talked about today. It's just one of those things. You can't do anything about it. You question the motive there. I think someone said after the game that it was about tiebreaker and having points scored and stuff like that, or point differential. I understand, but it's week 2. What are you doing? Why didn't you kick the field goal a little earlier? Give your guys a chance to get the onside kick and truly tie the game. All things being equal, it looks like McVay was trying to cover the spread.
Yeah, I mean, I just got nothing there. I know it was pretty deflating. Once we, I think we got that was a second pick. And the turnover was the 4th and short. We were able to get the tackle in the backfield, and turn that game off. Just wasn't even interested. Like, all right, let's move on and come back and just ugly around. And I heard the point differential. He kind of said today he wasn't aware, but I guess he tightens up his massive difference in the Shanahan owning him against the spread. So. Yeah, take that one away, but that's the importance of the hook, and that's why we hopefully try land what we call key numbers, and you'll see those throughout the season.
Yep.
Boys at Jets. I think the number was actually appropriate before. I didn't think Wilson was going to be that much stuck in the mud, if you will.
Yep.
But give the Cowboys credit; they're balling right now.
Yeah, that defense is insane. Micah Parsons. I mean. He'll finish top 2 probably in voting for Defensive Player of the Year. But you can make the case he's without question the best player in the league defensively and arguably an MVP. We were on the Jets. I thought the defense could hang, and the defense did what it could.
And they did. Yeah, for the most part, like up until I think late 3rd, early 4th, and they were just on the field the entire game. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen. You're only going to hold the dam's only going to hold it back so much. So
for sure, you need your offense to help you out and get you off the field, and just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I thought we said if we got to 20 with the Jets, even 17, we have a shot, and I think we were close. But obviously didn't get that.
Right.
Next game again, just an awful. I don't even know where to begin with this team. Broncos, Commanders, the 3.5, 21-3 lead. And then Russ fumbles the ball in territory, and it just seemed like that was the beginning of the end. And Russ just came out to Denver Russ.
Yeah, it was ridiculous to watch, unexpected. But then, as the game progressed, it was like, oh yeah, this is the Russell Wilson that he is now. Not good. Denver is going to be a fade team, I think. Although I do like their number this week, the 6.5. I think that they play in Miami. However, I gotta stay away. Like if I bring up Denver on a future show or to you, please take my accounts away from me.
Yeah, you'll see the job posting on Indeed. We'll find somebody else. I gave this play out for one of our plays. Liked it again. Just the 5-1 last 3 years. Dolphins, Patriots, like we touched on earlier.
Yep.
Kind of got a little sketchy there at the end. Tyreek kind of didn't do much, but Tua played great. They had a couple, quiet guys make some big catches, and Mac didn't really turn it on. I don't think so much about the second half, even though I don't think he played bad in the first half. But No, obviously it was a good game, and always a good matchup with those two, and just something about New England that just struggles with Dolphins.
Yeah, it goes back to Tom's days too.
Yeah.
Yeah, good play by you. I ended up tailing your play there on Miami, and yeah, good thing it cashed. It was pretty much no sweat.
Yeah, for the most part, which we didn't have many of those this weekend, so we kind of had to grind a little bit. So I was kind of glad that one was in cruise control for the most part.
Yep.
Saints Panthers, I mean, just back and forth. I told you my reasoning was just basically, primetime home dog system.
For sure.
Gets a lay. They're not going to ask how we got there. If we're going to get a couple bad beats on the other way, we'll take a few ones that go our way with
sure.
with the 2 point in the late TD. Anything you want to touch there other than just
divisional dog?
Abysmal.
Yeah, divisional dog covers. I'll bring the number to the next episode, but I want to say divisional dogs so far this year are like 75% ATS. So yeah, it was sloppy. The Carolina offense has no downfield threat. Bryce did what he could with his legs and stuff. And the Saints defense is pretty good too. I mean, one of probably top 5 in football. So yeah, get away with late touchdown and 2-point conversion to get the
other than two big plays though. Carolina's defense was unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, to hold them just even in that game when they had, I think, going into the fourth quarter, 6 first downs even.
Yeah.
Absolutely they didn't even
insane.
Yeah, they get in field goal range. They trot the kicker out there for, I think it was like a 55 yard or some 56 yarder. And then they false start, move 5 back, you're punting now. I mean, just nothing went right. So I'll take the miracle cover, but I'll tell you what, though, that Carolina defense is going to hang them a lot of games. They can get that offense going somehow. It might be in the future a good spot to catch Carolina, getting some points down the road.
Yeah, not a huge prop guy, but one of my buddies gave out a ladder of Thielen receptions, and it was like 2.5, 4.5, 6.5, and the touchdown catch was 6.5 at almost 10-1. So appreciate him giving that ladder play.
Yeah, we actually don't touch on the props so much. Maybe in these just absolute atrocious games, we'll just have to try to find something because you got root for something other than the balls to hang out midfield. And then again, staying true to the system, primetime home dog, Steelers
divisional
plus
dog.
2.5, divisional dog. I mean, any which way you want to hit that one for the most part, you had it. Chubb, I hope the guy can at least come back for not even just a season, but I hope his career, because that was pretty nasty. If you've seen the pictures, they didn't even show the replay. But just a really weird game in general. Deshaun, I have to imagine Baker's having a pretty good laugh with the dumpster fires going on in Cleveland.
Yeah, through 2, dumpster fire a little bit offensively. Deshaun isn't nearly what he was in Houston. I don't know if it's rust or he's just not that good. Well, time will tell. But the Cleveland defense has not allowed the team in the red zone yet this year through 2 games. And
yeah, that's insane.
The Bengals and Steelers. It's been 2 big plays for Pittsburgh, and the 2 defensive touchdowns last night won them the game. So, yeah, it's crazy. Going back to Pittsburgh though, all the trends point to Pittsburgh. They've, I think, haven't lost a Monday Night Football game at home since like the early 1990s. Tomlin is a beast against the spread as a dog.
We brought that up, I think, week 1.
Yeah, so the Steelers for me were a no-brainer, and it was a sweat for sure, but they got home.
Yeah, I like that on that one. We had obviously like three good trends, 3 solid trends that seem pretty true that were there. So love that. So total through 2 weeks, I got us chalked at 4 1-on-1 in the plays that we've given out. So we're definitely humming. If you're tailing, you're doing pretty decent right now. So I'm sorry, 4 1-2. We had the 2 pushes. Atlanta and then the Panthers. So
night,
yeah. So 4 1-2. Either way, we're well into the positive. So just keep doing what we're doing, and we will be back in a few days. Just give out more plays, run down the board, and let's see what this week looks like.
Yep, sounds good. Take care, man.
See ya.